up, and welcome into Fantasy Baseball today on Wednesday, April 15th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White. Today on the show, Reid Detmers or Mick Abel? Maybe the answer is both. Why not both? I don't know. We'll talk about it. Bunch of injury updates, bunch of messy bullpens. I plan to do a Worryometer Wednesday segment. Not sure I'm going to have time for that. This is our latest start of the year. It just felt like there was so much going on tonight. So we'll see if we have time, but my guess is probably not. But let's jump in.
Yeah, baby!
All right, Scott. 2 breadsticks, 2 podcasters. You get to choose which one you want first.
I'm going to go with Reid Detmers,
okay,
who I think is the less rosterable of the two, the other being Mick Abel. These are our 2 breadsticks. But I want to talk about Reid Detmers because he did he changed the most from what we'd seen previously and got a great result. So it was at the Yankees. He struck out 9 in 7 innings, walked none, 9 and none in 7 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, just great. Great all the way around. 17 swinging strikes on 99 pitches. That's also great. And it was well distributed between 3 pitches. 5 on the slider, 6 on the changeup, 4 on the curveball. It's that changeup. The 6 on the changeup. It's a new pitch for him this year. It's been his best whiff pitch this year. And in this start, he threw it the most he has so far. Basically doubled his season usage. 16%, still pretty low, 16, but 6 whiffs on those 16. Again, it's been his best whiff pitch all year. It's a positive trend that he has this new pitch. It's his best whiff pitch. He's increasing the usage, and he's getting better results as he does. I'm encouraged. I think it puts Reid Detmers near the top of the list of pitchers to add off the waiver wire, given, a lot of the ones we talked about already this season have graduated from where you can add them off the waiver wire. But Detmers still qualifies. He has relief pitcher eligibility, which, of course, is great for points leagues. I would rather have Mick Abel, who you're about to talk about, but I'm encouraged. I think this is reason to have some optimism for Reid Detmers again.
And it comes one day after the Yankees faced a left-handed pitcher in Yusei Kikuchi. Now, Kikuchi has been quite bad since joining the Angels, but obviously they just got to look at a lefty, and they were awesome against Kikuchi on Monday. That was the complete opposite here against Reid Detmers. You mentioned that new changeup, and it was even different in just this start compared to other starts where he's used it. The velocity was up 4 miles per hour, had 2 more inches of horizontal break, and 3 less inches of drop. So it was just a very different pitch in this start as well. And it was awesome. As you mentioned, it had the 5 whiffs on that changeup in this start. And the underlying numbers love Detmers so far as well. The K per 9 is up over 10. It's a 253 FIP, a 345 xFIP. And I know a lot of people will rightfully point to a checkered past here for Reid Detmers in his
We were just talking about it yesterday.
In his career as a starter. It's a entering Tuesday. It was a 4.89 ERA and a 1.37 whip. So we've seen a lot more bad than good from Detmers. And we've seen some really good starts from him in the past too. But the fact that he is doing things a little bit differently here, I agree. I think there's a lot of intrigue here with Reid Detmers. 46% rostered, RP only on CBS for now. We'll come back to him in a second. I want to talk about Mick Abel, who makes it 2 very strong starts in a row. This one against the Red Sox, 7 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts to 0 walks, 15 whiffs on 90 pitches, 7 on the fastball, 2 on the slider, 2 on the changeup, 2 on the curve, 1 on the sweeper, 1 on the sinker. But last 2 starts, 13 shutout innings, 16 strikeouts to 3 walks. He did mix in a few more sliders in this one. It was pretty good, but it was the fastball that really stood out. 7 whiffs on that fastball, 37% whiff rate, and threw 71% of his pitches for strikes. His first 2 outings were quite bad, one of them in relief. So I'm making excuses for the guy, but perhaps that threw him off a little bit, just, working as a starter in spring training. And then, his first outing coming in relief this season. And then his second start was bad, but these next 2 obviously were very good 43% rostered for Mick Abel. So very close between these two, but you say that you favor Abel over Detmers. Why is that?
More newness there. He's let us down less in the past. You point to Detmers' checkered history. There have been so many times over the years where we've gotten excited about Detmers' potential, and then he collapsed into being Reid Detmers again. The upside, anytime a player has upside, like it's never over. Right. There is some change that could be made for him to realize that upside more consistently. We're seeing it with Jordan Walker on the hitting side this year. And so I don't think it's over for Reid Detmers if he starts doing something different that's getting results like this. But, fool me once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, like definitely shame on me at that point. So I'm a little reluctant to get fully behind Detmers. It's a little easier with Abel because this is his not technically his rookie season because he spent too many days on the active roster last year, but by innings it is his rookie season. And there's been a lot of good, even dating back to spring training. The whiff rate on his 4-seamer is 33%. That is an insane amount of swing and miss to get on a fastball. And to me, that's always a marker of very high upside. 3 walks or more in his first 3 starts, that's never a good thing. But if you break it down by the percentage of strikes he's actually thrown, it's pretty high. So I do think there's room for him to eliminate those walks or greatly reduce them. He completely eliminated them in this start, which was great to see. And if he does that, with as good as he is at missing bats on the fastball itself, I think the future, as early as this year, could be very bright for Mick Abel.
So let's compare some of these two to the most added pitchers on CBS right now. Would you take Abel or Detmers over Jeffrey Springs, who just had another great start?
Yeah, I'd take both of them over Springs. I think I think Springs can matter in that Michael Wacha sense of the ratios will be good enough that he's worth streaming at times, but I don't think he has the nearly the ceiling that Abel or even Detmers has.
What about Joey Cantillo, who was a semi-popular sleeper / breakout pick, and he has had 3 solid starts in a row. Had another, or I believe his first quality start of the season here on Tuesday night.
Yeah, if I'm gonna comp Springs to Wacha, the comp I'm going to use for Cantillo is Grant Holmes, because I think the strikeouts could be good, but I think the whip's going to run high. And again, not quite as much of a ceiling as Abel and Detmers.
Mm-hmm. And I assume you feel that same way about Grant Holmes. Like you would drop Grant Holmes for either of these guys.
Yeah.
If you had to make that decision. Just looking at a few other names that are widely rostered. What about Tanner Bybee? 86% rostered. Would you drop him for either Detmers or Abel?
I'm fine doing that. Yeah. I mean, after Bybee's last start, I said I'd let him go for any other interesting pitcher. And Abel and Detmers both fit the bill.
Casey Mize, 83% rostered.
Yeah, I haven't really been enthusiastic about Mize since his first year in the minors. So I'd be fine letting him go.
Will Warren, 78%.
Yeah, his outings have been extremely short and the strikeout rate has been modest. So yeah, I'd let Will Warren go.
I think I know the answer to this one. And of course we got duped, or some might have gotten duped into using him this week, and bad start here on Tuesday, but Mitch Keller.
I thought you were going to say somebody else. No, I'm definitely over Mitch Keller. I think he might have some value as a points league streamer still, but I couldn't see trusting him in a categories league, even in a streaming capacity.
And then the best for last, Scott. I think this is the name that you thought I was going to mention. Yeah. Noah Schultz in his debut. You could tell he was nervous early on here. His first inning, not great here for Noah Schultz. He walked 2. Then he had a sac bunt that resulted in 2-run scoring. Schultz himself threw the ball away when he was trying to get a runner out at home on that play, but he did settle down after that. His final 3 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts here. But obviously the most added player on CBS from this weekend. Where does Noah Schultz fit in with Reid Detmers and Mick Abel?
If it was a fab situation, which I understand is the minority of the audience, but I'm going to talk to that minority for a second. If it was a fab situation, you obviously had to spend a lot of fab to get Schultz. I don't think I could justify cutting him after one start. If it was a free add drop situation where you can just drop guys willy-nilly, no cost attached to it, no waiting period, the guy being on waivers or anything, I might drop Schultz for either one. Now, part of that is I'd be crossing my fingers nobody else scooped him up right away. I think that's possible, given that he was underwhelming in this first start. I don't even know for sure that he makes a second start. He might get sent down after this. I don't know. So that would make the decision easier, and maybe you just wait for that. But, Abel and Detmers have a lot of upside themselves. Schultz, I still think he has a lot of upside, but there may be more he needs to work on here. It may have been just nerves, like you're saying, especially with the way that first inning went. I was also disappointed with the pitch selection because the slider is supposed to be his best pitch, and he didn't throw it much at all. He threw a lot of sinkers, a lot of cutters. Neither of them are bat missing offerings. Of his 6 whiffs, 5 were on the fastball, a very good sign, like I was saying, for Mick Abel, and not surprising that Schultz is able to miss bats with his fastball, given how hard he throws it, given the low arm angle with it, makes for an unusual look. So I do like the potential there is clear. I feel like his best 2 pitches were his 3rd and 4th most thrown pitches. And then there was the control issues, which may have been nerves, but 6'10" guy, it wouldn't be surprising if he was had a little bit of trouble finding the strike zone consistently, even though the minor league track record, there are indications there that other than the year he was dealing with a knee injury, that the control is good. So maybe he'll turn it all around. Maybe he'll get sent back down. In any case, I'm a little less enthusiastic about him. I don't see how I could maintain the same level of enthusiasm for Schultz. Not closing the book on him by any means, but disappointed.
Yeah, he threw his slider and sweeper a combined 18% of the time and had 0 whiffs combined. He gets a lot of movement on those pitches. I was watching this start, and the Rays were just laying off it completely. They just weren't even swinging at his, sweeper or slider, because that was probably the book coming in. It's like, man, if you see that coming, just don't even swing at it, because they're probably going to be hard pitches to command as well. I mean, he just, again, gets so much movement on those pitches. So Noah Schultz, uneven debut here, rough first inning, but if you watch it, he did settle down the final 3 1/3 innings there for Noah Schultz. So big starts here for Detmers and Abel. They are the big names here, the big talking points here from Tuesday night. Before we hit our first break, Scott, I just have to bring this up at the top because, it blew my mind. Don Kelly, the manager of the Pirates, he pinch hit Brandon Lowe with the bases loaded in the 7th inning because a lefty was being relieved for a lefty, and it was Cionel Perez who was coming in. Someone tweeted at me that, Lowe had bad career numbers against him. I think it was like 1 for 7, but like super small sample size. Anyway, in the same game, Brandon Lowe homered off of a lefty, and they pinch hit him for Nick York, who hit into a double play. Granted, Lowe is red hot coming into this game. It's just, I get splits and platoon advantages. I feel like some managers are they're going too far, man. I think this was way, way overthought. And oddly enough, Nick York wound up making the final out of the game against a right-handed pitcher, which would have been Brandon Lowe batting in that spot. So just really, really baffled me, that decision here from Don Kelly.
To be fair to Nick York, he's been pretty impressive so far this year, too. He doesn't have 7 home runs like Brandon Lowe does.
He also doesn't have a track record of Brandon Lowe.
He's hitting the ball harder. He's getting on base a ton. I actually picked him up in the For the People podcast league, 16-teamer.
But this is your third hitter in the lineup. Scott, like if it was, your 7 hitter who's a lefty, sure, you can make that swap. But like Brandon Lowe, he's your second best hitter on the team. You're going to pinch hit him for Nick York? Seems crazy to me, man. This is my...
I'm not saying I would have done it.
This is my get off my lawn kind of old man moment here. Some of these managers, I think they are just vastly overthinking.
Well, I don't think it's the old man take, right? It's a by the book, quote unquote, move, which is more of an old man kind of move.
Nah, but this would never happen back in the day. Never.
With taking a lefty out against a left-handed pitcher,
and
that
cheating
feels
your
as by the
third
book as it
hitter,
is.
your second best hitter, that would never.
Yeah,
it would never happen.
Okay, but it's not. I'm trying to think of it. It's not Will Clark. It's Brandon Lowe. Just trying to think of an old school example there.
I don't know, man. This feels very like. And look, we talk about analytics and stats all the time. So I mean, it's not even. But I think sometimes these guys are overthinking things. It kind of goes back to like Aaron Boone not playing Ben Rice against another lefty here on Tuesday. But it's just, I don't know. I think some of these guys are overthinking things a little bit. Now, before we hit our first break, if you enjoy the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It does mean a lot, and we really do appreciate it. Let's take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ hits every highlight from all the sports that matter to you.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today. Let's hit the news and notes. Lots of injury updates. And first up, the Padres placed Nick Pivetta on the IL due to right elbow inflammation. And then later in the day, we heard that the Padres are interested in Lucas Giolito. So kind of putting 2 and 2 together a little bit here. It's a little bit scary for Nick Pivetta.
Yeah. I mean, granted, somebody has to pick up Giolito at some point. And have you heard anything about him going in for an MRI or an elbow examination?
Nick Pivetta?
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about imaging. But.
Right. So they've just called it inflammation. Normally it's like he's going to see Dr. So-and-so, whatever doctor you want to name there, when it's like fear of UCL damage. So it doesn't sound like that situation, just based on the little bit we've heard so far. But obviously Nick Pivetta's on the IL. He's going to be out for at least a little bit.
Yeah, there is, I don't know if this is accurate or not, because I don't see it from like a valued source, but at least one person on Twitter saying that Nick Pivetta did undergo imaging, and I guess that's how they found the right elbow inflammation. But I haven't heard anything about like further damage, but
yeah,
that doesn't mean that it can't pop up, like further down the line. So not great news there on Nick Pivetta, who also dealt with arm soreness during spring training. Christian Yelich was placed in the IL with a left adductor strain and is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. So this is a pretty big loss for fantasy for the Brewers. And I'm kind of intrigued by Gary Sanchez and Jake Bauers here, Scott. They both were getting pretty regular playing time. I think with Yelich out, this kind of solidifies it even further for both of those guys. Bauers most likely not going to play against left-handed pitching, but Sanchez and Bauers both hit their 5th home runs of the season here on Tuesday. Sanchez has started 7 of their last 10 games, and his quality of contact has been awesome so far this season. His zone contact is way up too. I don't know that that's sustainable for Gary Sanchez, but it's a nice sign early on this season. And then Bauers, he's already up to 5 homers, 13 RBI, 2 steals, and his K rate is down from 27% to 20%. So, in some of those roto leagues, got 2 catchers, corner infielder, 5 outfielders. I think Sanchez and Bauers are in play in leagues like that.
Yeah, deep enough roto league, I would agree. I think in the long run, they're going to kind of be their normal selves. Obviously, Bauers especially has been performing really well of late, but they're 30-somethings who have been role players throughout their career. And so I'm not counting on them being impactful in fantasy, but they can be useful in a deep enough league. Sure.
Continuing on with the Brewers, Jackson Trio's estimated return from that fracture in his left hand has been pushed back into early May. So rough news day all around here for the Brewers. Terry Francona said Emilio Pagan is getting his hamstring checked out after the game. He actually converted a save in this one and has been pitching much better, but I saw he came up limping afterwards. So hamstring could be tricky. I think more often than not, it winds up with an IL stint here. And if Pagan is out, my guess is Tony Santillan would be the next man up.
Yeah, I would agree. And if he's limping, he's probably going on the IL, Pagan. So a good time now to pick up Santillan in leagues where saves are scarce.
Spencer Strider will begin a minor league rehab assignment at High A on Thursday. Ketel Marte was scratched from the lineup due to lower back tightness. Wyatt Langford returned to the lineup after missing 3 games with that quad injury. Jackson Holliday has been pulled off his rehab assignment due to mild right wrist soreness, and he is also coming back from a fractured hamate bone. So seems like that would buy a little bit more time here for Jeremiah Jackson, who's been hitting as of late. Gabriel Moreno was officially placed on the IL with a left oblique strain, retroactive to April 11th. Josh Hader threw a live batting practice on Tuesday. We'll see what we learn about that in the next coming days. Astros bullpen definitely could use Josh Hader right now. Spencer Arrighetti will join the Astros rotation Wednesday or Thursday against the Rockies. 3 starts in the minors this year, 126 ERA, 0.77 whip, 12.6 K per 9. And a player we were excited about heading into last season, Scott, Arrighetti, 40% rostered. Where would you rank him among the, let's call it a trio now, Arrighetti, Detmers, and Mick Abel?
Oh, Arrighetti's well below the other two, which isn't to say I'm not interested, but you have to be skeptical given the little bit we saw of him last year. And, obviously we didn't just see him have a dominant outing in the majors like we did for those other two. So I would probably put Arrighetti even behind some of the others we talked about, like Grant Holmes and Joey Cantillo. I doubt I'd drop Michael Wacha for Arrighetti right now after the week Wacha just had. But Arrighetti is certainly someone I find interesting, and in a league deep enough that all those guys are rostered and you want to dream of him, then that's where you target Arrighetti, I would say.
All right, moving on here. Continuing with the Astros, actually, imaging on Tatsuya Imai's right arm came back negative. Nick Lodolo could face hitters on Friday. He has thrown multiple bullpen sessions, but has yet to throw breaking pitches, which is the key issue with the blister. So that will be the next step in his recovery. Carlos Estevez could begin a rehab assignment within 5 days. Kyle Teal will begin a rehab assignment within 1 week. He is 40% rostered. Just a name for 2-catcher league, Scott, or do you think Kyle Teal is worth a stash in a 1-catcher league?
I don't know that he's worth a stash in a 1-catcher league because there are enough interesting options to go around. But he could emerge as somebody startable in 1-catcher leagues. He has that kind of upside. He performed well as a rookie last year. And if he happens to be available in a league where you're considering Gary Sanchez, definitely go for Kyle Teal first.
Lourdes Gurriel will begin a rehab assignment at AA on Wednesday. He is 11% rostered. Is he a name that should be stashed in 5 outfielder leagues, Lourdes Gurriel?
Yeah, I came out with IL stash rankings a week ago. It was the top 40. I believe Gurriel was 40th among the 40, but he was on it. And I think that puts him in Roto League consideration, 5 outfielder league consideration, basically. He should play every day for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, especially when we learn that Pavin Smith will undergo surgery to remove loose bodies from his left elbow. He was placed on the 60-day IL and will be out approximately 6 to 8 weeks. Quinn Priester is tracking toward beginning a rehab assignment at AAA next week. 37% rostered. Any interest in stashing Quinn Priester?
Yeah, I picked him up in a lot of leagues where I had a free IL spot this weekend, seeing that he was coming back soon and having that free IL spot. Why not? I think, relative to just general waiver wire pickups, look behind Mick Abel and Reid Detmers, probably about on the same level as Michael Wacha, I would say, where I'm not expecting game-changing results from Quinn Priester, but he'll probably be pretty useful.
All right, Harrison Bader has been dealing with a minor left hamstring injury since spring training. That's why he's sat out a couple of games here. Jose Barrios will start a rehab assignment at Single A on Wednesday. Isaac Collins. Isaac Collins versus
I know. I've done the same thing with him too. Like, I can't read the name Isaac the same way anymore.
Yeah, Isaac Collins left Tuesday's game. I wrote with blank, so I did not get an update on the injury there. I can probably pull it up pretty quickly. In the meantime, Brandon Sproat will rejoin the Brewers rotation on Thursday against the Blue Jays. Lucas Giolito, I mentioned this earlier, drawing interest from the Padres as well as the Cubs. They lost Cade Horton, obviously. Matthew Boyd is out, but is expected back. But, both rotations have dealt with their injuries. And a prospect to watch, Mariners president Jerry Dipoto said Colt Emerson is, quote, as close as they come to getting an MLB opportunity. So,
where?
I don't know. But
yeah.
That's just, yeah. That's
I asked because I'm putting together a prospects report tonight, and I do not have him among the 5 on the verge, and it's hard to know how to read that comment without without context, without comparing it to other prospects. Like, it's okay, he's as close as could be. Is that's just you saying? I don't know. It's hard to tell what exactly that means in terms of timetable or where he would fit. But JP Crawford is back. He's doing JP Crawford-like things. Cole Young has been good, and obviously Brendan Donovan. They're not replacing him, so I don't know where Colt Emerson would play. Injury obviously changes things, and maybe that's all Dipoto's saying.
Isaac Collins, by the way, left Tuesday with a right knee contusion. He ran into the fence and fell into the stands while attempting to catch a ball in foul territory. So that is the update on Zach Collins. I did want to provide an update on
Collins.
Did I say Isak again? What did I say?
I thought you said Zach. Maybe you did say Isak, though.
I don't know. Isaac Collins is the name that I'm trying to say. I wanted to provide an update on Zach Wheeler, who made another rehab start here.
I think you said Zach because you were transitioning to a Zach. I think you said Zach, but it's Isaac, not Isak or Zach.
Zach Wheeler in a rehab start at AA, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 9 strikeouts to 0 walks. Are you ready to put on your conspiracy hat, Scott?
Oh,
I've got a conspiracy.
Always ready.
Why did they move him from AAA to AA? It could be kind of a logistical thing. I don't know if one is closer to the team than the other. Maybe that's the reason.
That's usually why the rehabbing player doesn't want to go on the road, and so he goes to a different affiliate.
But I'll tell you why. There's no StatCast in AA. That's why they did this.
What is the benefit? Like, is there a competitive advantage to hiding StatCast data from the public? I wouldn't think so.
They don't want everyone to keep freaking out about Zach Wheeler. It's probably your theory about him being on the road, but if we're just having fun, talking amongst friends here.
Well, that kept coming up with Spencer Strider this spring, and I'm like, okay, but what did they get out of that? Like, it's not like hiding injuries on an injury report in the NFL, hiding who's injured so that the team doesn't know to game plan for the healthy player because they don't know that they're just expecting to face this player who's actually injured. Like, I see how there's a competitive advantage there, but I don't see how there would be for just hiding how hard a pitcher's throwing.
He did have 12 swinging strikes on 72 pitches. Zach Wheeler, this is who we're talking about. I don't really see anything about any velocity on Twitter, so I don't know. I'm sure it's somewhere, but no StatCast data available in AA. Double A in the minors. What do we make of these bullpens? Some messy bullpens here. I know usually we say bullpens for the end, but I felt like we should probably get to these a little bit earlier tonight. The Brewers, Trevor McGill got the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. He allowed 3 runs on a walk and 3 hits. He took his first blown save, but over his last 2 outings, 7 earned runs allowed. Abner Uribe has struggled a little bit too. If he was lights out, I feel like that would kind of just be an easy transition. But shout out to Chris, who actually threw this on the rundown, even though he's not on the podcast tonight. He sent me a tweet. Pat Murphy's post game, he said the coaches will have to talk about a change in the 9th inning. No decision tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds ominous for Trevor McGill.
Yeah, I didn't actually see how this 9th inning broke down for Miguel. I know the previous one where he allowed 4 earned runs was just a comedy of errors without there being official errors. So it was 4 earned runs, but it was a couple of bunts and Trevor McGill himself misplaying batted balls and allowing hitters to take extra bases to reach safely. There wasn't actually... It's not like he was giving up a lot of hard hits. It was just kind of little league, a little league 4-run inning where they all happened to be earned because there were technically no errors, which comforted me in the respect that, okay, it's not like Trevor McGill pitched poorly and that's why he gave up 4 earned runs. But at the same time, he cost the Brewers the game, and that's the main thing they're probably concerned about. And then he follows it up with 3 earned runs. And I didn't see whether there were any bunts or anything like that. I did see that he actually gave up some hard contact. So it may have been a more conventional kind of blown save for Trevor McGill. But either way, he's cost the Brewers dearly 2 appearances in a row. And when you have an alternative as good as Abner Uribe, even though he's been a little shaky too so far, it's really easy to make that change.
Yeah, so Abner Uribe also gave up a run here on Tuesday night, and he's got a 5.68 ERA, but the underlying numbers still love him quite a bit. It's a 145 FIP. It's a 338 xFIP early on here for Abner Uribe. So if you need saves or if you want to speculate, I think Uribe makes a lot of sense. If you have Trevor McGill, I think you probably should try to make sure you can, get Abner Uribe on your team. And I'm sure a lot of people have been dropping Uribe just based on the way the season started. So he is down to 60% rostered on CBS. So Abner Uribe, a name to go out there and add if you were looking for saves. It could be someone else, but
it could be someone else. It could be we're just going to take McGill out of the role for a while, let him settle down, and then a week from now he's back closing again. It could be a lot of things, but rarely. I mean, we weren't sure coming into the season whether it would be McGill or Uribe. So if McGill's having problems, Uribe needs to be rostered. It's pretty simple.
On the other side of that game, Jeff Hoffman, after Trevor McGill blew the game, he did his best Trevor McGill impression because he got the 9th with a 2-run lead, and he allowed 2 runs on 3 walks and 2 hits, took his 3rd blown save of the season. He's up to a 4.32 ERA, a 180 whip early on this year. I did not see any quotes that came from the Blue Jays, just pure speculation here, but Louis Varland has been filthy to start the season. 10 1/3 innings, 3 unearned runs, but 15 strikeouts to 3 walks. And he actually, I believe, closed this game out or stayed in to whatever, pick up the win. He's looked really good. So I'm not saying something's going to change right away with Hoffman, Scott, but if I was speculating, I would just pay attention to Louis Varland.
Yeah, that's fair. Tyler Rogers is there too, but he provides so much volume with that submarine delivery. He's able to bounce back so quickly that it's hard to imagine him moving into the closer role. I don't know that they're ready to replace Hoffman yet, but it's been pretty shaky after a whole season of shakiness. He had talked this spring about getting back to emphasizing his slider, which is his best pitch, and he threw it a lot more in Philadelphia. It hasn't really happened. He's thrown the splitter a lot more and not throwing that slider 40% of the time. I'd still like to see him get back to that. Maybe he will make such a change after having an outing like this, but hard to say what the Blue Jays are going to do at this point because Hoffman's put himself in hot water.
And 3 other messy bullpens right now. I'm not sure that any of them matter for fantasy, but the Nationals, it was Gus Varland who picked up his second save. He has the last 2 saves for the Nationals. He has a career 4.88 ERA and a 1.70 WHIP. It still kind of feels like they play matchups and use Clayton Beeter in the highest leverage situations. For the Astros, Brian King pitched in the 8th inning. He got out of a jam there, and then he started the 9th inning. He got the first 2 outs, gave up back-to-back hits, and Enyel De Los Santos got the final out for his first save. No Brian Abreu in high leverage, which I think makes sense based on how poorly he has pitched. And then for the Athletics, it was Mark Leiter Jr. who picked up his second save. Scott, do any of these bullpens matter for fantasy right now? The Nationals, the Astros, the Athletics?
I have a hard time believing Enyel De Los Santos would just become the closer until Josh Hader returns because he wasn't even being used in high leverage spots prior to this game. Brian King was, and Brian King had already gotten a save. He's left-handed, which maybe hurts his case, but he seems like the best reliever if we're assuming Brian Abreu no longer is. So he would be the one, I think, if you wanted to speculate on Astros saves over Enyel De Los Santos. As for Leiter, it is his second save. He hadn't really been used like a closer since the last one, and the last one was in March. So I don't know. It's still hard to be invested in anyone in that bullpen. Clayton Beeter is probably more interesting for the Nationals, but it's not like his role is totally clear. So it's pretty messy all the way through. Honestly, if I was ranking relievers from those 3 bullpens, I'd go Beeter and then probably Brian King over Mark Leiter.
All right, let's take our final break. When we return, we had a pitcher's duel out in LA. Back-to-back home runs by the Angels. We'll talk about all that right after this.
You think you understand how this business works, but you don't.
I now know why Monty was so stressed.
What's the plan here?
Landman. New season now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball. Today, we had ourselves a pitcher's duel out in LA.
It's time to duel!
Noah McLean up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They were both amazing. They both went at least 7 innings in this one. McLean, 7 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts to 2 walks. He has 8 strikeouts in 3 of 4 starts, 2 earned runs or fewer in all 4 starts. Looks like the breakout is on for Noah McLean. And Yamamoto against the Mets, 7 2/3, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, 23 whiffs on 104 pitches. That splitter was dancing. It was amazing in the start. 4 for 4 in quality starts for Yamamoto. 21 strikeouts, just 3 walks on the season. He has been great so far. Scott, what are you thinking here on McLean and Yamamoto?
They're both great. Keep starting them. I think we all had McLean as the NL Rookie of the Year, right? I know Chris and I did.
Sal Stewart would like a word.
It's off to a good start too. But yeah, McLean's living up to it. Yamamoto living up to his high draft standing, and not much more to say than that.
All right, moving on here. The Angels hit back-to-back home runs off of Ryan Weathers here on Tuesday night. Mike Trout, another home run, 3 homers in his past 2 games, his 5th home run of the season. We spoke a lot about him yesterday. The underlying numbers look fantastic for Trout early on. The quality of contact is great. The plate discipline looks much improved. Can he maintain it? Can he stay healthy? Those are the big questions. Joe Adell's bat looks like it's coming alive. We know the glove is there. 2 for 5 with his 2nd home run. He has 3 straight multi-hit games, and over his last 8 games, 14 hits, 2 homers, and a steal for Joe Adell. And entering Tuesday, his XBA was 280. His zone contact is up. His whiff rate is down. So we haven't seen too much pop just yet, Scott, but the early indicators here, at least based on like plate discipline, look pretty good for Jo Adell.
I mean, pretty good. The guy's striking out 16% of the time, 17%.
Really good.
That is something I thought I'd never see for Adell. Now, he's not walking at all, so I guess you could say pretty good. But if he's making that much contact, and we know he can impact the ball well, if he's making that much contact, good things are likely to happen. Probably the strikeout rate will itself regress. Just looking at the track record, the zone contact rate, the chase rate, they're pretty much the same as they were for him last year. So it might be some early season noise, the strikeout rate being so low for Adell. But I was worried about him even sustaining last year's mark, and I'm feeling better about that now.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a pretty obvious trade-off so far, just him looking to make more contact, but his quality of contact has actually been down quite a bit so far. He's just not barreling it up as much. And you see that in like the X slug and things like that. So
still a good average exit velocity, but you're right. The barrel rate is low.
Yep. So, I mean, it's going to go up after this game, obviously, but I don't know, kind of encouraging signs there from Jo Adell. And Jorge Soler continued his nice start, had his 5th home run, 2 walks in this game. And he is up to 18 RBI already and 850 OPS here for Soler. And he is 44% rostered. I have not heard a peep about his suspension appeal. The fight happened last week. Like, you would have thought we would have heard at least something by now.
Yeah, I mean, Reynaldo Lopez has already served his.
I picked him up in leagues this weekend, Jorge Soler, but I didn't start him because I assumed he would just be suspended for most of the week. So I'm kind of annoyed by that. But 44% roster. Do you think that number should be higher for Jorge Soler?
I don't know about that. I mean, he is hot. And he's had 2 great seasons in the past. 2019 and 2023 were both great seasons. But 2019 and 2023 were pretty far apart, and the second of them was pretty long time ago. His exit velocity readings have been considerably worse the past 2 years, including this year, after he was a standout for that earlier in his career. He's still striking out a lot. I'm skeptical that Soler is going to remain useful, but he has been good so far, and in 5 outfielder leagues, that might be enough to just ride it out.
Who would you rather speculate on between Soler and Angel Martinez?
I think probably Soler.
Okay. Moving on to some other waiver wire hitters. Andres Jimenez is off to a solid start. 1 for 4 with his 3rd home run. He's batting .276, 3 homers, 3 steals, and .806 OPS. 55% rostered. And I think when he's going right, Scott, he's a pretty valuable middle infielder. You know, we've seen that from him in the past. 10 to 12 homers, 25-ish steals, kind of that Bryson Stott territory. Do you think Andres Jimenez needs to be more rostered than 55% on CBS?
55% probably covers all roto leagues on CBS and then some. So that's probably about right. He matters in roto. But I in leagues that don't offer that extra middle infield spot, that don't require you to have that 3rd guy, I don't think Jimenez is going to amount to much.
And then I have 3 very deep league waiver wire hitter names here. Oswald Peraza in the revenge game against the Yankees. 3 for 3 with a walk in his 3rd home run. He has sat out 5 games this year. I think it's 3 of his last 5. I don't know. His playing time has been a little sporadic. He's still just 25 years old. He's a former top prospect. Underlying numbers don't look great so far, but big game here for Peraza. Dom Smith from your Atlanta Braves, 3 for 4 with 4 RBI. He's hitting .395 with 15 RBI early on in the season. We know that he won't play against left-handed pitching, but
100th percentile expected batting average for Dominic Smith, Frank.
I know. I saw it. 364 XBA.
Yeah.
He's making contact and he's hitting the ball hard. So that's a pretty good combination. And then Ildemaro Vargas with the D-backs now, 1 for 5 with his second home run, 3 RBI. They've had a bunch of injuries. He has started 7 of the past 8 games, and he's hitting 381. OPS is well over 1,000. And his expected numbers are just bonkers for some reason. 92nd percentile or better in XBA, X-Slug, X-WOBA, and he's pulling the ball in the air more. I mean, this is a career journeyman who really has never done much, but I think these are mostly AL or NL only names. Scott, do you have any thoughts on Peraza, Dom Smith, and Ildemaro Vargas?
Yeah, that's the funny thing about AL and NL only leagues. Pretty much everybody with a pulse is worth rostering in them. And so, of course, these guys are all worth rostering in AL NL only. I'm starting Dominic Smith in my NL only league as replacement for Christian Yelich, actually. But you could, deep enough league like that, it could be a corner infield option. Anything shallower, though, I don't know. I think Dominic Smith is the most interesting of these, but not beyond what I said about Jake Bauers and Gary Sanchez earlier, where he's a 30-something who's never become more than a role player in the majors. I don't see why that would change now.
I had one other waiver wire pitcher here, Brady Singer, who had a solid outing against the Giants. 6 innings, 1 run, 1 strikeout to 0 walks, 2 whiffs on 75 pitches. 59% rostered. I only bring it up, Scott, because he's available in some leagues, but I don't think Brady Singer matters very much. Do you disagree?
He'll be streamable at times, but you don't want to put too much trust in him.
Yeah, I noticed that he's throwing his sinker a lot more so far this season. And I mean, typically last year, where he had solid success at times, he got more whiffs on like his sweeper and slider and 4-seam fastball. So I think typically we would want to see more of those pitches than the sinker. So I don't think we're going to get many strikeouts if we're getting a lot of sinkers here from Brady Singer. Early waiver wire pitchers who continue to pitch well. They are no longer available, really. We mentioned their names earlier on, Scott, but Jeffrey Springs, another quality start. This one against the Rangers, 6 1/3 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. He has quality starts in 3 straight, 2 earned runs or fewer in all 4 starts. Biggest thing I see is that he's just doing a really good job limiting hard contact early on. And Joey Cantillo, the 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts in this one. And I found it encouraging that he was able to get through 6 innings despite not really having his changeup working very well, which is usually his best pitch. So if you pick these guys up, obviously you're pretty pleased with these starts. But what do you think about Springs and Joey Cantillo?
Yeah, I had them both as sleeper pitchers for this week. They were in line for 2 starts. The matchups were pretty good, especially for Springs. Cantillo, I've already mentioned he's probably going to hurt you in whip, but the strikeouts are going to be good, I would suspect. A really good changeup that actually wasn't working for him so much in this start. He kind of got away with it a little bit against a middling Cardinals lineup. But there will be better days in terms of strikeouts for Cantillo. Springs, he has been throwing his fastball a little bit harder this year, and that's encouraging because we've seen him do well with the fastball at that velocity before. You're right, it's a lot of weak contact consistently. And so I don't know that Springs is somebody you're going to want to rely on all season, but he's definitely streamable right now and is in line for a second start this week.
2 hitters who are continuing their awesome starts. CJ Abrams, 3 for 4 with his 6th home run. He is batting .356. He's got 19 RBI, 4 steals, and 1121 OPS. The strikeout rate is down a little bit. The quality of contact is up. The expected stats look great for CJ Abrams. So perhaps this new front office, new coaching staff with the Nationals has helped CJ Abrams tap into the next level. And Christian Walker, 3 for 4 with his 4th home run. He is batting .313 with 15 RBI, 983 OPS early on. The strikeout rate way down for Christian Walker. And its quality of contact just remains like solid where it has been in previous years. Would you be looking to sell high on either of these two if you could, Scott? CJ Abrams or Christian Walker?
It's easier to say for Walker because obviously we didn't invest much in him in the first place, and everything he gives you from this point is gravy. I mean, that's how low the investment was. You've already banked so much, and if you can realize those gains, then you have nothing to worry about. Even if he keeps it going, you've already realized the gains, so no downside if you're actually selling high. Abrams, there was more of an investment there. A lot was expected from Abrams. I think probably the likely scenario is his numbers end up about where they've been the past 3 years, but he's young enough at 25 that you could see him taking a step forward, and at least as of now, he's doing the things he'd need to do to take that step forward: higher pull air rate, lower strikeout rate, etc. So I would need a ton, I think, to consider moving Abrams, and I doubt I'd get it.
Yeah. Would you, I mean, this is a classic buy low, sell high, but if you could turn Christian Walker into Josh Naylor, would you do that right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if I had to add a second player who was, who I could live without, I'd do that. Absolutely.
What about someone like Pasquantino or Michael Busch, who are both off to just brutal starts?
Yeah, those would more likely be straight up trades, but I'd still do it. I'd still give up Walker for either one.
Okay, let's continue on. Not really sure what to make of these starts here from Tuesday night. Cole Reagans and Framber Valdez just up against each other. I mean, they both turned in quality starts. They combined for 6 walks to 2 strikeouts. So what'd you see here, Scott? Cole Reagans and Valdez, not many whiffs here on.
Yeah. If you had told me that they combined for 3 strikeouts, those 2 pitchers, Valdez and Reagans, I would have said, well, they must have pitched only like a combined 3 innings. But no, they had a combined 13 innings and 3 strikeouts. So they both just weren't looking to miss bats here. Pitch selection had a lot to do with it in both cases. Framber Valdez threw his sinker 60% of the time, which it's normally like 45% of the time. So that's not a pitch that's going to get a lot of whiffs. It's going to get a lot of weak ground balls. It always has. And that's just kind of the approach Framber Valdez took. Remember, he was coming off a bad start. And so he ditched his changeup in this one more or less, and it's been bad for him this year. He only gets strikeouts when that curveball is really working for him. And he just leaned on the sinker this one. It turned out fine, but only got the 1 strikeout in 7 innings for Framber Valdez. And then Reagans, he didn't seem to have his slider, which is a really good whiff pitch for him. I'm not sure it's quite his best. The changeup is so good too, but he didn't seem to have the slider. The spin rate on that pitch was down nearly 200 RPM, so he threw it less. And I wonder if that has to do with the thumb, taking the comebacker off the thumb in his last start, leaving because of that. Maybe the thumb is sore enough that he can't get his usual grip on the slider. So I'm a little concerned for Reagans in that respect. He still hit the Tigers over 6 innings, so it's not like I'm thinking of sitting him or anything. But I wonder if we've heard the last of that thumb impacting his season.
Trevor Rogers had his first non-quality start of the season. 4 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs. So on the surface, just not a good line. But 6 strikeouts and 17 swinging strikes in this one. It feels like a very mixed outing here, Scott. I think overall I'm still encouraged with Trevor Rogers, but I hate when we talk up a bad start because he had a lot of whiffs, but I thought that was encouraging here for Rogers.
And why do you hate it? I mean, we do the opposite, right? Like Justin Robleski yesterday had a good start, but then we kind of just it because we're not a recap show. We are a move it forward show. Like what's going to happen next kind of show. And I think the whiffs are a much stronger indicator of that than how many earned runs were allowed. So I don't hate it. I think we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do. And yes, I do think Trevor Rogers showed good stuff in this start, even if the results were bad. I mean, 86.7 was the average exit velocity. That's really good too. I think those are stronger indicators of what we can expect from Trevor Rogers going forward than the fact he gave up 4 runs on 9 hits. Fastball was up nearly 2 miles per hour, changeup up more than 1. Not really sure what to make of that. But again, good whiffs, good average exit velocity, not walking a bunch of guys. I see nothing to be concerned about here for Trevor Rogers.
What about Ryan Weathers? Mixed outing, kind of similar against the Angels. 5 innings, 5 runs allowed, 4 homers allowed, but 10 strikeouts in this one. And if StatCast is correct, I'll look this up again while you're talking. He completely eliminated his sinker in this start, a pitch that he was using 25% of the time entering the start. And he used a slider 21% of the time, a pitch he hadn't thrown at all this season. So changing up the pitch mix here for Ryan Weathers, what do you make of this mixed outing? Is he someone that we need to hold on to in fantasy?
He showed a lot of upside in his previous start. It was an isolated event. He is making a second start later this week, so maybe you'd wait until that. There were still some good signs here. I don't know where the slider came from, given that he hadn't thrown it all year, and he threw 0 sinkers. That I wonder if there's some classification stuff going on there, just because to completely abandon one pitch and suddenly feature another pitch out of nowhere, just that's weird.
Usually it would update after the fact, but nothing has changed. It's the same.
Not yet. Yeah. And maybe it won't. Maybe that's legitimately what happened. It's just, you just don't see that. You just don't see a guy in his 4th start suddenly throw a pitch 20% of the time and completely abandon, not throw a single pitch that he had been throwing 25% of the time. Right? That's weird.
It is weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when he was coming off his best start of the season.
I thought maybe better, because that sinker that he was throwing 25% of the time hasn't been any good on its own.
Sure.
But there's more to pitchers. There's more to pitch selection than just, is this pitch I'm throwing good or bad? I mean, it could be a setup pitch for other things, it could work to make those other pitches more effective. So I don't know. I mean, 7 base runners in 5 innings doesn't. I mean, obviously the 4 home runs is a big problem. 7 base runners in 5 innings, though, 10 strikeouts. Those are both good things. I want to see more from Weathers before I give up on him. But if you're in a daily lineup league, it becomes harder to activate him for his next start.
Would you drop him for Mick Abel or Reid Detmers?
Yeah, I would prefer those two to Weathers at this point.
And then Shane McClanahan, he just continues to struggle with control. This time at the White Sox, 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 of those earned, but 4 walks to 4 strikeouts, threw just 59% of his pitches for strikes, has 3 or more walks in all 3 starts, and his K to walk ratio 13-11 so far on the season. I get that it could take time here. Like, it's just, he hasn't pitched in competitive games in such a long time, but walks per 9 are up over 7 right now. So it's like, maybe we shouldn't even be starting Shane McClanahan.
Oh, probably not in most cases. Probably shouldn't be. I mean,
if he had a 2-star week this week, I'm not sure if he did or not, but if he did, most people used him. Yeah,
I believe he did. And I had him in the points league only section of the 2-star pitcher rankings. And that's fine. I mean, you take advantage of that volume in that particular format. But in a 1-start week, until he shows signs of coming around, or in a roto league, I think he's a sit. I'm probably closer to dropping McClanahan than calling a must start.
I agree with that spectrum of things. I still would not want to drop him.
Sure.
But obviously he's not a must start. But it's tough because rooting for the guy. I want him to do well. The velocity in this start, pretty much where it has been all season. So it's not like it's, ticking up as the season goes along. It still could, but it hasn't really happened yet. So I want him to do well so we could play a sound drop, Scott, but I refuse. I will not play the sound drop until we get a quality start from Shane O'Mac. So if you're listening, if any of the Rays brass is out there listening, let's get a quality start from Shane O'Mac.
Yeah, they got to hear the drop. That's what it's all about.
Everybody wants to hear it, but you know what? There is no money involved with Shane O'Mac unless he's pitching well. And right now, he's not pitching well.
There goes the money.
There it goes. Some hitting leftovers. Byron Buxton, a massive game, 4 for 5 with a double dong, 4 runs scored since being moved to the leadoff spot on April 6th. That is a 8-game stretch. He is hitting .342 with 3 home runs and 13 runs scored. That is Byron Buxton. Munetaka Murakami hit another home run, his 5th of the season. And man, just call back to like Adam Dunn. It truly has been 3 true outcomes for Murakami. 21% walk rate, 31% strikeout rate, 5 home runs on the season. So while batting 167, which obviously is not great. Dalton Varsho is heating up 2 for 5 with his 3rd home run since being moved to 2nd in the lineup. A 6-game stretch. He's got 9 hits, 3 homers, 6 RBI, and a steal. Jose Ramirez, 2 for 4 with a sock and a shoe. His 3rd home run, his 8th stolen base. JJ Weatherholt had been slumping a little bit as of late, but 2 for 4 with a double dong here, 3 RBI. Hunter Goodman, 2 for 5 with 2 home runs of his own. And Sal Stewart, Yahoo! 1 for 3 with his 5th home run. He continues his breakout season thus far. Any names, numbers stand out from this bunch here, Scott? Buxton, Murakami, Varsho, G-Ram, Weatherholt, Goodman, Sal Stewart.
I keep the faith on Weatherholt. It's easy to say that after a 2-homer game, I know, but looking at the data even prior to this game, the exit velocities are decent. The pulled air rate is decent. The plate discipline is exceptional. And the software skills are great, which obviously helps for job security. I'm talking about base running and defense. Defense, he's like 100th percentile for which measurement was that? The softer skills have been great for Weatherholt, and the plate discipline's been great, and everything else looks fine. So I think he'll be fine. He'll be good even.
2 that I just wanted to follow up on for a quick sec here. Dalton Varsho, his entering Tuesday, his average exit velocity was 85.2 miles per hour. Last year was 89.9, and his bat speed is down 2.4 miles per hour. His fast swing percentage, which is, Scott, I feel like this is like your pet stat this year. Last year it was pulled air rate. This year it's fast swing percentage. For Varsho, it's down from 56% to 31%. So not loving that early on for Varsho.
Yeah, I'm not either, and I had noticed. This was after a big spring, and now he's going on a home run binge again. So maybe it's coming up. We're only looking at the full season mark. It's the same hitting coach that got Varsho and George Springer both swinging the bat faster last year. So I doubt, if we're on top of it, I'm sure he's on top of it too. And so I don't think it's anything to panic over, but it's not what you want to see.
Yeah, fair enough. Some pitching leftovers here. The good. We got strong starts here from Brian Wu, Michael King, and Jacob Misiorowski. Misiorowski, by the way, just want to point out, he was pulled after 76 pitches. Apparently, he was sick in this start, and so that was the reason that happened. But, Sky, any thoughts here on the Miz, Michael King, and Brian Wu?
You said who was pulled because he was sick? I didn't see that.
Misiorowski.
It was Misior. Man, maybe he should always be sick because he threw more than 70% of his pitches for strikes. That's very un-Misiorowski-like. The more miserable Misiorowski is, the better he does. Miserable Misiorowski. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's hard to complain about what he's done so far. Only 1 start as long as 6 innings, I guess, would be the biggest gripe. And the walks are higher than you'd like, but they're low enough, given Misiorowski's strikeout potential, that it'll work. It'll work if it remains this low. Big if, but still encouraged by what we've seen so far. Yeah, Wu was good, and King, he's been good. Not much to add for those 2.
And then the bad pitching leftovers. Sonny Gray got beat up at the Twins, 4 innings, 5 runs allowed here, 2 homers allowed. And Mackenzie Gore, it was one of those Mackenzie Gore starts. 6 walks over 4 2/3 innings. He limited the damage, only 2 runs allowed, but obviously not great control here. Only 56% of his pitches for strikes. Anything else on Gore and Sonny Gray?
Yeah, I mean, Gore, I'm skeptical he's ever going to stop being Mackenzie Gore. Now, everything I said about Reid Detmers earlier is true in that, if a player has that kind of upside, it's never over. But we've been down this road so many times with Gore before, and it always ends in the same place. And so I think that's the safe bet. That's the safe bet with Detmers too, by the way. It's just Detmers is free to pick up right now, and Gore is rostered everywhere. Mm-hmm. And he should remain rostered everywhere. But you get what I'm saying. He may not live up to your wildest hopes for him. That would be my leaning right now. Sonny Gray, again, he remains a different pitcher this year. He's changed his identity several times through his career. Pitch selection, though, I mean, is looking more to pitch to contact this year than to miss as many bats as we've seen in recent years. And you do that, sometimes starts like this are going to happen.
I lied. I have 2 more pitching leftovers, 2 names that were somewhere in between good and bad. Robbie Ray, 5 innings, 2 runs, but 4 walks, 2 homers allowed in this one. And Merrill Kelly in his season debut, he was okay. 5 1/3, 2 runs allowed, but 9 base runners in his first outing. Any thoughts on Robbie Ray and Merrill Kelly's debut?
Merrill Kelly, other than the walks, looked fine. I think some rust is to be expected. I would get back to using him like you normally would, which in leagues of a certain depth puts him basically must-start status. 12-teamers, probably pay the matchups a little bit, but he's like a more reliable version of Michael Wacha, I would say, and is must roster.
Mm-hmm. Just a heads up on for Robbie Ray, he was not relieved by Ryan Walker for the first time this season. Ryan Walker actually pitched, I believe, the 8th inning. I believe he was the last pitcher to pitch for the Giants in that one. So either 8th or 9th.
Tony Vitello got tired of us laughing at him.
Yeah.
They're all going to laugh at you.
He listens to the podcast. He's a big fan. No, I don't know.
No, it's not. He's not at all.
Actually, he might listen to the podcast, but if he does, he's probably not a fan of it just because of what we've said so far about Tony Vitello.
Joe Mazzello does, though. That was a fun discovery after our Jurassic Park conversation a couple years ago. Tim himself, the human piece of toast.
Yeah, that was pretty fantastic stuff, man. That's the thing is, sometimes you never know who's listening, Scott.
So. You never know.
You never know. The call to the bullpen. Some other updates here for the Tigers. Kenley Jansen picked up his 3rd save. Believe he moved up the all-time saves list as well. I saw that somewhere. For the Padres, Mason Miller struck out 1 for his 5th save. His entrance is so cool, man. My God. It is so cool, man. Mason Miller, I would love to be in attendance for that. For the D-backs, Paul Sewald picked up his 6th save. For the Braves, Raisel Iglesias struck out 2 for his 3rd save. For the Marlins, Pete Fairbanks entered in the 8th inning, facing the heart of the Braves lineup. 2-run lead. 2-run lead is now gone. He allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, took his first blown save and first loss. This might have been his first time pitching since coming off the paternity list.
Didn't have that dad strength, huh?
Nah, yeah, he probably should have.
All 3 of the runs were the Dominic Smith bases clearing double, by the way. So I almost got out of it, but it's always tricky when a closer gets bombed while he's not being used as a closer, right? We see that a lot.
Yeah.
Usually it's in non-competitive situations, and this was, it was a hold situation for Fairbanks, but does it make me concerned about him? I don't know. It obviously makes me concerned about his usage because he wasn't being held back for the 9th. And that's, what did you keep saying about the Marlins last year with regard to the 9th inning?
They don't have a closer and they never will ever again.
It might be true still, That's what never means. Never. Even if they signed Pete Fairbanks, was the subtext there, I think.
The first couple of weeks, they used him as their traditional closer. There were reports in spring that, like, if there's a big spot coming up earlier that, he could be used there.
It was the heart of the lineup.
It was the heart of the Braves lineup. So I still mostly think he's the closer, as long as he performs. Obviously, he didn't perform here. For the Rays, Brian Baker entered with 2 outs in the 9th inning, 1 runner on, a 3-run lead. So he was pretty much just gifted with the best save opportunity possible. He did get the final out for his 3rd save, and looks like the Rays' highest leverage reliever for now. There for the Rays. For the Guardians, Cade Smith got the 9th with a 1-run lead. He got the first 2 outs. Mason Wynn reached on an error, and then the next batter hit an RBI double. So he took his second blown save, and the Guardians wound up losing in extra innings. And then for the Dodgers, with a 1-run lead against the Mets, Edwin Diaz was not used against his former team. It was Alex Vesia who got the 9th inning. He struck out the side for his 2nd save, but somebody did send me a note on this. I did not fact check it, so take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But they said, I believe Vesia got the save tonight because it was healthcare celebration night, and Vesia had nursing staff at the game that supported him and his wife and their late daughter. It was super obvious he was pumped for it, and his slider was disgusting. So that could be the case. It also comes right after Edwin Diaz blew a save recently, and there's been talks about like his velocity being down and is he healthy? So little bit of a messy situation there.
It's nice. Are teams that nice when they're preserving a 1-run lead? I don't know. Like that's
it worked. I mean,
it did work. Yeah.
I truly don't know. I mean, I would probably lean towards like they might try to ease Diaz back in, maybe some lower leverage stuff while his velocity's down. But they gave him a bunch of money, so
they also got that 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th. So they may not have been expecting to have the lead in the 9th at that point, and it was too late to get Edwin Diaz going. And I don't know. I mean, Edwin Diaz, they say he's supposedly fine. Hopefully that's the case.
To stream or not to stream on Wednesday, Eduardo Rodriguez at the Orioles, Tyler Mahle in a revenge game at the Reds, Rhett Lauder home against the Giants, Bryce Elder against the Marlins, JT Ginn against the Rangers. I have a bunch of other names on this list, Scott. If you like any of those, go for it.
I don't like any of these, period. But you're going to make me choose some, so I will choose Bryce Elder against the Marlins, even though that's gone oh so great for the other 2 Braves pitchers who faced the Marlins this week.
Mm-hmm.
He said sarcastically. And then Rhett Lauder against the Giants would be my second choice. If I had to pick a third, I'd probably go JT Ginn. No, I'd probably go Eduardo Rodriguez at Baltimore, but I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great about any of them.
I agree. I would rank them Elder, Erod, Mahle, but not a fan either. And then on Thursday, it does not get that much better. We have Steven Matz at the White Sox, Landon Roop at the Reds, Foster Griffin at the Pirates, Kader Montero against the Royals, Jacob Lopez against the Rangers.
Steven Matz at the White Sox I can get behind.
I do like that one.
Yeah. But otherwise, this is even worse. Foster Griffin at Pittsburgh, I guess, would be my second choice because it's gone okay for him so far. I refuse to pick a third. Matz and Griffin.
I would rank them Matz, Roop, Griffin, but Matz is the only one Matz is my favorite of both days. So do with that what you will. We are going to wrap there. I do apologize. Not getting to the worryometer. There was just so much to talk about here on a stacked Tuesday night. So hopefully on a day where there's less things going on, or a Tuesday that there's not as much
worryometer Wednesday.
Yeah,
I won't have to.
Well, it's tough because
I ain't gonna be here.
We're doing, we recorded on Wednesday, but it's into Thursday, so it doesn't work as well, Scott. It's like
that's true.
It would be worryometer.
This was going to be worryometer Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it technically is Wednesday now.
Yeah. And it's mostly hitters that have extensive track records. So I'm pretty sure it would have been mostly low numbers for all these hitters anyway, Scott. But a few that aren't proven, like Caglione and Okamoto. But
Sure.
We'll talk about it over the next couple of days. We'll get to it eventually. We are going to wrap there. For Scott, I am Frank. Thanks as always for tuning into Fantasy Baseball today. Please make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. And we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.